For close to 4 years now, Cameroon has been gripped by the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. Efforts by the government to resolve the crisis so far has proved insufficient as separatist fighters and the government continue to clash in several areas across the two English-speaking regions, with untold death, destruction and suffering on the local population. The Catholic Church has been vocal on the issue, making constructive proposals to both parties with a view to bring the crisis to an end. As prominent figures have also initiated moves to bring peace and ensure a return to normalcy. But with the Church having its own challenges, how far can it go in ensuring that Cameroon stays one and indivisible, united and prosperous? That's our focus in this edition. This is Hard Talk. We are at the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese, and our guest is an iconic figure in the Roman Catholic Church in Cameroon. Born in Kikai-Kilaiki in the northwest region in the year 1930, he was ordained priest in 1966 and became Cardinal 20 years later. He served as Archbishop of Douala from 1991 to 2009 and is today the Archbishop Emeritus of Douala. In his peace-seeking endeavors, the prelate created the Anglophone General Conference, grouping religious leaders from the northwest and southwest regions with a view to bring peace back to the respective regions. Your Eminence, Christian Cardinal Tumi, welcome to Hard Talk.
I welcome you to my residence.
Thank you very much. Your Eminence, for some time, the AGC went silent and many people thought that the initiative had died until last week when the religious authorities met again. What accounted for this silence?
I thank you for the question. Before your question, we should ask ourselves, why did we found the grouping?
Exactly. It's very important.
After observing that there were many people, or should I say, many people did not know the causes of the problem. The causes of what was happening in the northwest and in the southwest regions of our country. I took the initiative to contact other religious leaders, that is to say, leaders of the Protestant churches, of Muslim religion, to look into these causes and form the head of state. What were the causes, and to propose solutions to the problem. What should be done for peace? So our meeting and inquiry made us to publish a document of 400 pages and a summary of about 12 pages. Our aim was to give that document to the head of state so that he would know the causes and how to, if you don't know the causes, you will not know the solution. So that was our aim. It was just about the time we were trying to call all the Anglophones together to speak with one voice that the president called, the national, the entire national,
the major national dialogue.
So we put a stop to our movement. But we had finished the study, and therefore we gave our findings, our conclusions of our studies to the Prime Minister. I am sure that the President must now be on, must be aware of what is happening, what the causes are, because I'm sure the Prime Minister must have handed over the documents to the head of state. And we thought our work had finished, because the last proposition we made to Paul Biya was to call a national conference. That is to say, a conference that would put together all Cameroonians, as many Cameroonians, French and speaking, but to solve only the problem of the Anglophones. Because we believed that we are still one country, and that if a part of the country is not happy, it is a wound that the entire nation should look into. Because if a part of your body is not well, you wouldn't say that only my finger is sick. You say, I am not well. So as soon as the President stepped in by calling this national meeting, we thought our work had come to an end. But then, after the national conference, where many of us participated, who were invited, not as member of the AGC, but as the elite of our various places of origin, because I got my invitation from the presidency through Kumbo, the prefect of Bui. He was the one who told me that I had an invitation from the presidency in Kumbo, as elite of Kumbo. So that is why we kept quiet from some time. But some members thought we should have made to evaluate the national meeting. So now it was only during the last meeting, provoked by the Imam of Boya, because any member can provoke our meeting, not only myself, and that we made to see when the killings continue, we had to make a statement. And during that, then, we have changed the name to soon be published, to have a permanent structure that will be an observer from the moral point of view of the events taking place in our country. So it is taking up life again.
All right, Your Eminence, when you look at the situation now in the Northwest and Southwest regions after the major national dialogue, what evaluation do you make of the situation?
We regret what is happening now with the killings. But whatever the killings now, it is not as serious now. The situation is getting better and better than it was yesterday. The first meeting I met to Kumbo, when the events were still seriously going on, it was horrible. We could see dead bodies along the road, abandoned, as if they were animals. It was horrible. But in February this year, I went to Kumbo again, and I will be going there again. The situation is not perfect, but we cannot compare what is happening today with what was happening yesterday. It was horrible yesterday. Today, there are incidents that take place from time to time, not regularly as they,
As it was.
many people were killed. I went to Kumbu then. I went at the earliest period of the events. I could not go to my village to celebrate Mass. The Amba boys did not allow me to go to Kikai, from where I come, Kaikalagi. But this time I was there 3 times, and I spoke with them to tell them where I agree with them, where I do not agree with them. They have a right to have their political opinions. Let them leave the other people to respect the political opinions of others. If their aim is to divide and have their own, all right, let them leave those who have the contrary view. And then let them found a party. There's no other way for them to come to power than to have their party with its philosophy, proposing to the English-speaking parts of the country what they want done. And in an election, if they win, then they can say the people approve of their own philosophical way of thinking. And then if they win the election, you can say, well, the people approve and will apply that. There's no other way. It's not by force. It's not by killings. It's not by preventing children from going to school that they will, come to power. No, no country in the world would support them. No country. And today, no country can work alone without help from others. We are fighting today for the unity of Africa, and the whole world is coming together. All these divisions would finally end. I told them, those I met and who came to see me in my village, there are quite a number of them around there. They immediately put down their guns and the caps they were wearing, funny-looking things, and asked me for blessing. I blessed them, of course. The blessing, the authority we have to bless is not for us, it's for the other person. But when they came to see me in the Father's house, I told them what I think.
And what did they tell you in reply?
They told me, Papa, we have heard what you have said, but those who are governing us, or we would have loved that those who are be here. So I'm planning to go to Kumbu this time. And the Bishop of Kumbu and we're planning to call them for a meeting to talk to them. I told them, look, I differ with you on 3 points. Number 1, your intolerance. Anybody who disagrees with you, you are ready to kill him. That's not a solution to a problem. Secondly, your intolerance in schools. You are now fighting against the future of your brothers and sisters. You will rule who? Who will rule with you? Will you rule alone if you come to power tomorrow? You will be intolerant to the opposition. You can't imagine a world today in this world without the opposition in Parliament. The opposition is useful. And then finally, you tell me those who are abroad, they say, for those who are in forests and various bushes around the country, they contribute financially for their well-being in the forest. If you have money in the forest, what do you do with it? I told one who is a relative of mine. If you are serious, come home. He's a medical officer, a surgeon. Come home with your wife and children, go to the forest, and those who are outside will contribute, and you live in the forest with your wife and children. Since then, he has never telephoned to me again. But he told me, no, he is of the opposition, in the opposition, but of the moderate opposition. Then found your party. And come and, the Cameroon has no limit to the number of parties. Come and found your own party. So I'm ready to talk to them. And when I go home this time, they will come to see me. I will talk with them. I'm not afraid to go back, to go home. Although people discourage me, I consider them as my children.
Okay, Your Eminence. During the last meeting, the AGC called for the release of prisoners arrested in connection with the crisis. Government has made moves to release some of these prisoners, but yet the situation is not improving. How important?
No, it is improving.
Well, yeah.
In my own private opinion, because I go to live the occasion, I will be at home for 1 month. I cannot say that every day the situation is improving. Why? The killing, mass killings at home, and bodies lying everywhere, and houses being burnt is no longer going on as yesterday.
Okay, Your Eminence, how important is this call for the release of the prisoners?
But it's another step again also to calm down people. Let us continue the dialogue. As the state is meeting some of them who are in prisons, let that continue. But dialogue with those in the forest back home here is difficult because many of them cannot dialogue much. They believe only in the gun. Because many didn't go to school. Many are school fallouts. That's the problem with dialogue with those who are in the forest.
And those who are abroad say that the government has not given them guarantees for them to come to the table.
But some came last time, and after that they came here to thank me. I assured them that the president means what he said, that those who dropped and came, and many came here to Douala, and I received them in the name of the Prime Minister, through whom the government sent help to them. And the Prime Minister sent me some money for those who were lodged here in the cathedral and in one of our parishes. The Prime Ministry gave me money to buy mattresses and beds to lodge them in St. Joseph's Parish in Douala. I think the government, from what the Prime Minister is doing much to get them out, and many have come out. Some have, through us, many have gone back to their families. Some who were doing small professions were given some amount of money to support. Yes, so that they could relaunch what they were doing. The fear we have now is that there are some who are thieves by profession, you know, and they are seizing the occasion. One of them was killed in Kumbo when I was there in February. His wife was in Bafusam with their children. And when she was caught, she was found with 30 millions. And they say what the husband left in the bushes, nobody will ever find them. His money lost. We don't know how the amount. I do not know the boy personally, but he's not far from, just about some kilometers, about 2 or 3 kilometers from our house to their house. It's right in the parish ground where I go to celebrate Mass when I'm in Kumbo, you know.
All right, Your Eminence, you have observed that the situation is improving. Government also has been working out to implement the reconstruction plan of the head of state. Do you think this is timely at this point?
I think so. I think so. I have received the minister in charge of reconstruction.
Portas on the national coordinator.
He was here with me on private visit. I have received also the United Nations people who are cooperating with them from the financial point of view. And our opinion, you know, the two regions, the two Anglophone regions have a good idea of community development. We're proposing that the army, the civilians, these boys should work together to rebuild. And that is the way that if we succeed in getting them to work together for the development, that will be an indirect way of solving the pollution, of bringing about peace. When they work together, they will laugh together, they will eat together, and they will try to forget the internal wounds caused by the situation. The army has killed and destroyed. These boys have also killed and destroyed. And the innocent civilians found in the middle. If we can succeed in bringing them together at the same time, let them do this work. First, the cost will be cheaper, you know. I take the case of Buya, the southwest. The elite is already collecting from their private resources means to aid in the rebuilding of the southwest. Community work is in our blood. The roads that connect villages were dug by the people. Take the Kumbo water in Kumbo. The Canadians help us financially. The trenches were dug by the people. Now they only paid for the pipes. Any aid, financial aid that was given by Canada. So the trenches were dug from the catchment all over Kumbo. Every village took part. You know, so the community should be involved, and in that way we'll be rebuilding and solving the problem that was created internally in each of, because people know who killed who. Relatives know each other. People know who burnt which house and who burnt it. But if they find themselves together, for example, the Bishop of Mamfe at the time, at the beginning of these problems, who is now the Archbishop of Bamenda, proposed to the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. He told me, the bishop himself, if they could give him a bit of money to just roof the houses, he would look for the means, buses to go and bring back those who inhabited that village, and they will rebuild the village. But the minister seemed to have been favorable to that, but he had, you know, his superiors, maybe the head of state, maybe the head of state, had already this idea of rebuilding the whole place using his own method and means.
Okay, you met with the United Nations officials. What did they tell you is their reason for meeting with religious authorities like you are?
No, he said they came to see how we can work with them to convince the people. Religious, we have a certain moral authority on the people, you know. When they respect us as religious leaders. They know we have nothing to do with this. That our own contribution is to help to rebuild peace in this country. Even though they suspected at the beginning that we were involved with these boys. At the time I did not know any one of them. Today I can say I know the way they think. I agree with them that they are free to have their political opinion. But I disagree with them that force is the way to have it. No. We're human beings, not animals. And a human being gets to solution by reasoning, not by force. Even the animals that are domesticated, that listen to man. All the wild animals use force. We are not a wild animal. We are endowed with the power of reasoning.
What will you say to critics who say that the reconstruction must come up only after peace comes in the two regions?
No, it's not. We cannot do that. People are suffering now. People are dying now. We cannot stand waiting. We will not stand waiting to see people dying of hunger, to see children who are no longer going to school. A child who does not go to school today has no future. Tomorrow will be very demanding. Only those who have developed themselves, that is those who are educated, that will have any place in our society tomorrow, like in any developed country. You know, if you are not educated in many developed countries, you take the last place. No, you cannot advance in our modern society. Yesterday, when we were in school, finishing from school, employers were at the door of the school, proposing what they can have for you. Today, I have two relatives here, girls. They are graduates. Nothing to do. In those days, when we were finishing with a Cambridge school certificate, equivalent of all levels, they were at your gate, at your door, at the door of the school, looking for employing people, young men to employ, proposing to them already. You know, and it's getting more serious. There are doctorate holders who cannot get a job today. Graduates, they are roaming the streets.
So the reconstruction must start now.
Here and now, because people are suffering and dying now.
Okay, Eminence, you were part of the major national dialogue. It's been 11 months.
I presided the meeting that was for trying to help those who got out of their villages.
The refugees and IDPs. Yes. Some people say that it's been close to a year, and some people say that the major national dialogue appears to be a failure because.
No,
do you think so?
No human action is perfect. Only God is perfect. There are always loopholes in what man does because he is not God. But I wouldn't agree with them that it was a failure, not at all. At least it has made people to talk. I was there. And I presided a commission. Some ministers were there. They only gave their opinions. And that was the first time in our history that the people from the floor, from the villages, and the commissioner I presided, the commission for trying to bring people back to their places of residence. I let it open. I went from person to make sure that everybody has something to say. Everybody had to speak out. Because that's the way we do it. We run meetings in the church. Make sure that everybody, if you just say, all right, who has something to say? Some people will dominate. So you have to go from person to person. It takes a longer time, but at the end, we have the opinions of the group.
Yeah, the government is already working on sending officials to Nigeria to meet with the refugees, and we have been told that the governor of the Southwest region will head that team to Nigeria. How important is this initiative?
Of course, you know that already some have been brought back by plane. I think one of our coordinator, Ellie Smith, welcomed them in Yaoundé. He knows how they are welcomed there, and the government is caring for them until they get their way out. They are not coming back to go back to the forest. A whole plane full of those who went to Nigeria. And some who are in the borders between us and Nigeria are crossing over to here. And some from here now are going back home. I met somebody, a medical officer in Kumbo. He said, no, it's better for him to be here. And he is there. The situation is not easy, but I can assure you that myself I will advise those who run away from their villages to go back. They are better there than here, where some have nothing to eat. The other day I received a woman with 5 children. She said for 3 days they have not eaten. The husband was killed. She ran to this way and to this side of the country. And they have nothing to eat. I gave them the little I had. At that time, we were not yet in contact with the Prime Ministry. It's from our own small pocket allowance, as I will call it, exactly, that we try to help them to live under trees. I wonder what happened to them with the flood in Douala. Because some of them were under trees. Back in the villages, everyone has a little home where he can stay, a little piece of land where he can cultivate something. Here, they are waiting for the goodwill of some people. So I tell them, you are better back home than remaining here, away from your home.
Okay, Your Eminence, it is not the first time the AGC has been making these calls. What makes you think that this time both parties, that's the government and the separatists, will listen and then come to the dialogue table?
Because they have started listening and welcoming them back home. As I say, quite a number have gone back home, and quite a number are still here. The problem is not yet solved. But we expect that everybody would try his or her best to make sure that this program succeeds. We support it, what the government is trying to do. It is good to see how we can get our people back to their residence. And as Mr. Mr. Paul Tasson has said, and I told him, it's a promise you have made to the people, that the reconstruction will make people some better than they were before the problem. That means they want to give a new phase. And that is why one of my propositions was that they should not give money to the people, because some will run away from where they were back home to these big towns to build their small houses in the big towns. And I think the aim of the government is also to give a new look, a new face to the nation. Villages well built, and we agree with them that there are two things that should be done. The minimum of making our village, all our villages modern, to give the people electricity and water. We have a village in Kumo that electrified by a priest. Everybody in the village has electricity and water. It is in Kuma diocese. This priest studied in America. He had friends there, and with his friends they came back to build a whole cathedral in Ngabe, you know, and the villages, water, you know, what do you call it, solar energy. Everybody in the village has electricity and pipe-borne water. That's the minimum. And the minister in charge says no, that they are ready. The rebuilding will make sure that the house that was burnt is better built than what it was before it was burnt.
All right, Your Eminence, from a religious standpoint, what should Cameroonians do to ensure that this crisis comes to an end? Because for quite a while now, people have the belief that the fear of God has left many people, which explains the atrocities that we see. What should Cameroonians do?
No. If you're asking me that question, as a Christian to a religious, we can do nothing without God. We should pray for peace. That's what I do every day in my morning prayer. We pray for peace. Without peace, nothing can be done. No country can ever be developed without peace. Justice. Don't do to the other what you not like the other to do to you. That is love. Do to the other person what you would like the other person to do to you. Those are signs of love. You know, that's what our relationship should be more and more intimate. That is love. Serious loving. Don't do to the other person what you would not like the other person to do to you. Positively, do to the other person what you would like that other person to do to you. So that's all we are. Pray and do your part. Ready to help one another.
Okay, Your Eminence. You said that the agency had already put in place a 400-page document and sent to the presidency.
No, it was meant for the president.
For the president.
I asked for audience. I didn't
exactly. I was just coming to that to find out if you have asked for an audience to.
I asked,
speak one-on-one.
I asked, and the minister at the presidency received me. The presidency received me, but the president did not receive me. But we had not finished the document, so I met somebody working with the president and the presidency. He received me in the name of the president, and I told him, tell the president that I did not come to see his secretary but him. So I left.
And since then, has there been a reply?
No. No, I am sure that the documents we gave to the Prime Minister reached the President, that's all. But at the time I was going to tell the President what we were doing, because some people, rumors were reaching the Presidency that we were organizing another thing against the regime.
Exactly, I was just coming to that. At this point, do you think that the image of the AGC is more credible than it was at first when people presented it? Of course,
because the government is taking the initiative to involve us. I presided a commission, you know. Quite a number of us were invited to take part in the... Our document was with them. I'm sure they consulted our document. That's all we wanted. There's more. The Archbishop of Bamenda was appointed by the Prime Minister. You know, surely, he informed the presidency. The Archbishop of Bamenda now, when he was Bishop of Mamfe, he was appointed with the Southwest. I was appointed to be in the charge of the Northwest. Yesterday they could not do that because they thought we were doing other things. They have come to discover that there are rumors reaching me that the President could not believe what the Prime Minister was telling him. That was collaborating with the Prime Minister.
Because they are giving out stories that were not true.
Yes. I hear the President even ask the Prime Minister, what you are telling me about Cardinal Tumi now contradicts what I was told about him. So the Prime Minister, I heard, I didn't see the Prime Minister, I only heard the rumors. Prime Minister, so he's talking to the head of state about me from his own experience. I have met him quite a number of times. He has been Prime Minister. But those who were before him, like Ayam Luke, I've never met him to sit with him face to face. He was there for 10 years. We come from the same area. He's from Oku, I'm from Kumbu, Kumu and Oku.
Our neighbors.
No, some who say that Tumi, they have never met me. What I can say in private, I would say in daylight. Because I have no other ambition. At one time they suspected that Tumi wanted to become the president.
The president, because you had earlier asked the president to resign.
No, I did not ask the president to resign. A journalist asked me, what do you think about Paul Biya presenting his candidature during the last presidential election? And then my reply was this: if I were Paul Biya, and I would never be Paul Biya, at that age, I won't stand. I didn't say he should not stand. But somewhere I said, but if his party judges that even at 100 years old, he's their best candidate, and they present him, and the Cameroonians vote him. Because when he becomes president, he's not president of the party. He's president of the whole people of God that are in Cameroon. All bow to him. Since he advised that we stay at home, I've been staying at home. I'm not going out.
All right, Your Eminence, one of the main points of the AGC was for Anglophones to meet, but that has not been done, at least not to what was expected of the AGC.
Yes, one of our aims was for call the English-speaking Cameroonians to meet, because the problem is found there. And so they will get their opinion from a neutral group. We'll get their opinion by a neutral group and let it be known at the presidency.
Do you still think that they have to meet?
The Anglophone?
Yes.
Well, I thought only the person who is living the event can really know what it means, can know the truth. And that is why we sent out a questionnaire, and the result was a 400-page document.
Briefly, before we go, what were the high points of your study?
We produced a study and put together about 1,000 Cameroonians all over reacted. No, we asked Cameroonians all over the world 3 questions. Number 1, in your opinion, what are the causes of this problem? They gave this summary. They gave 11 causes. And in your opinion, what should be done then to solve the problem? They gave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separation, absolute separation, that the Anglophones should
Quick away.
And let them be 2 states, the French-speaking Cameroon and the English-speaking, and that they will love one another more permanently as 2 nations meeting. And for that, the report was 69%, according to the questionnaire. According to the 69% of the 1,000 and something people. That was high. Total separation. And then somewhere for confederation, 11%. Two-state federation, 13%. That is as we were before reunification. As we were from 1961. We were 2 states, federated. Other multiple forms of federation, 5%. And decentralization, unitary state, 1%. These are the summaries of these 400 pages. I can give you that.
Thank you very much.
But I will not give you that. That is costly. If you want that, you buy it. Pay for it. So the questions were 3. Causes, solution, and since we saw immorality that were committed by the army and these boys, we asked also, in your own opinion, do you think moral education should be, or should be in every school, should be taught in every school, not only religious schools, but even government schools? The reply there was 92% of those consulted said yes. Morality.
How important is this morality?
A man educated without morality is a education is the deliberate, systematic influence exerted by the mature upon the immature, upon the child, through instruction, discipline, and the harmonious development of all the faculties of a human being, with its final aim in view. Where are you and I going to? Is death the end of it all?
Okay, Your Eminence, Cardinal Tumi, it was a pleasure having you on the program.
You're welcome, and always.
Yeah, thank you very much for being part of it.
And God bless you.
And God bless you too, Your Eminence.